managers are made and they're not born. All of the skills I learned, and I'll talk about in this video, came on the other side of me committing to trying it in the first place. While I wasn't formally qualified or had any technical experience that I could necessarily name that would make me a better candidate than another one, what I did have was the encourage of the belief to try. And I knew that I could become a manager as opposed to being a manager to then go and do the job. And so that's the first principle. Managers are made, they're not born. Now, continuing from that story, well, I stepped into that role and I found myself being a leader to over 25 sales professionals at my height across 5 mini organizations inside of this sales agency. And I found it pretty easy due to the second principle that I found in being an effective manager. And that is, if you have done the work of the people you are leading, it will be easy to lead them. And that is simply because you can empathize with what they are doing on a day-to-day basis and communicate in an effective way and often offer practical insights and perspective to them. It is very hard to be a manager for people that are doing work that you have never personally done. Imagine you're up in the bird's nest in a manufacturing facility and you've never actually worked to the front lines, cutting and trimming plastic or putting it into the hot machines that push it out into a plastic chair or a pair of glasses or whatever have you. Well, it will be pretty hard to go down on the floor and get the team to listen to you or even offer practical experience or advice if you'd never actually done the job. And this is one of the biggest banes of my existence, or things I found so painful during my sales career, was having to answer to managers that just didn't understand the work that I was doing. Which the second principle is, when you have the experience and you've done the thing, you will have a massive edge being a manager, because your team will respect you and they'll follow you. Which takes me to point number 3, which is over-explain to prevent pain. Now, this is something that I find most managers or new managers get stuck with, which is how much you must over-explain what's important. Now, what I mean by this is, I don't know exactly why humans are this way or why this is part of the job, but it's just something that I've come to accept, which is you must over-explain for things to be understood to prevent pain of it being misunderstood. So let me give you a practical example for this. In one of my clients, we have an appointment setting team where we have a team of, or business development representatives, depending on the industry or background you come from. Now, it doesn't matter the day of the week. It doesn't matter how many times I've said it. Every single day I must communicate to them that what their KPI is for what they have to hit to succeed or for the day to be a successful day, and to update their trackers so that way everything's properly accounted for. Now, I have no idea why, despite my team having done the exact same thing for probably 4 months now and the work not looking totally different, they will just forget to do it or just stop doing it. But once more, you have to realize that there is a reason why you are in the management position and they are being managed. It's because if they had that ability to keep things tidy and orderly, well, they would be in your shoes, which is precisely why you get paid what you get paid, because you have the habit of consistency and keeping things tidy and not needing to be reinforced or reminded of the basics. However, I find that with the teams, no matter what the department is, whether you're a salesperson or a business development representative, I will always need to explain and re-explain and over-explain how to do your data, how to keep your trackers clean, and more importantly, what your performance expectation is to stay in your position or to succeed at your job. Now, what's really typical is that people feel that they are repeating themselves or explaining themselves and tend to get defensive and take it personally, like their team's not listening to them or ignoring them or trying to circumvent the rules and standards that you put in place. However, I've always found that it's best to look at human behavior as it's very innocent, as opposed to it having any sort of negative intent behind it. Very specifically, there was a manager that I worked with, we'll call him Adam to keep his name redacted. Now, Adam was a person who was promoted from a salesperson into that management position, but he just found himself getting frustrated with the team and having a high level of animosity and even getting combative during sales team meetings as to why people weren't keeping their data and everything up to date. But it wasn't until I explained to Adam that over communication prevents pain, that he was able to adjust his mindset and perspective around why people did the things they did, and accepted that it's just part of his duty to over explain these things even if they've been said before. And once he made that shift, not only did the team start doing things more consistently, but his stress and frustration toward the team started to dissipate, which actually encouraged them to perform better and follow his leadership, because there wasn't such a negative or a hostile energy around these basic things. Now, personally, if you ask me, I would love to say there's a longer or stronger psychological reason why people just don't finish through or don't keep consistent with the things that they will, but there just isn't one. It's just one of the quirks of being a manager, and once more, it's why your market rate as a manager is much higher than those who aren't.